Authority. This is our monthly meeting. Today is February 10th, 2026. Has anybody signed up for public comment? Next item will be a review and approval of the meeting minutes from our January meeting. Any comments on those? I've got a motion from Mr. Brunke.
Second.
Second from Mr. Jen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next, we'll have a review of our financial statements for January from Howie.
Always up.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners of the VBA. I'll be going over the monthly cash flows and financial activity for January 2026. For the operating account, we started January with a balance of $10,282,620. During the month, we had cash receipts of $11,310. That was for interest for January. We also received the Atlantic Park Entertainment Venue quarterly revenue share. This was for the period of October to December 2025. That's 50 cents for each ticket sold for the operating account. That was paid by Live Nation, and it was for $15,894. Disbursements during the month, we had just over $62,000 for the monthly conduit management. We actually paid 4 months of that in January, and that covered the period of October 15th, 2025 to February 14th, 2026, and that was paid to Global Links Data Centers. We have $5,800 for Atlantic Park offsite asset construction and support services through December 31st, and that was paid to MVP, and that leaves us with an ending cash balance for the operating account of $10,236,557. Then also related to the operating account, we had the amounts that were paid at the beginning of the month by the VBDA, and then they were reimbursed by the city. So this didn't affect the cash balance since there was a payment and a reimbursement. We had for the Atlantic Park project. We had $111,567. This was for draw request number 35 for the entertainment venue. That was paid to Venture Waves, and then also paid to Venture Waves was draw request number 35 for the offsite infrastructure. That payment was only $4,134. And then finally for Atlantic Park, we had November and December consulting services and expense reimbursement. That was paid to PlayWorks for $29,692. For Innovation Park, we only had one payment. That was just over $5,000 for construction phase services and structural inspections. That was through November 30th, and that was paid to Kimley Horn. We had one payment for related to the Corporate Landing Business Park. That was for draw request number 10 for offsite infrastructure and utility construction through December 31st. That was paid to Seabreezy Enterprises. And then we had a payment and a reimbursement for the City View 2 apartments. That was part of the development agreement incentive payment number 7. That was paid to the Constitution LLC. That was for $350,000. For the capital maintenance accounts, the Human Services Building, the only activity was we received the February lease payment of $47,910. That leaves that ending cash balance on January 31st of $2,088,698. For the Atlantic Park Entertainment Venue, we received the quarterly capital maintenance revenue share. That one is $1 per ticket sold, covering the periods of October to December 2025. That was received by Live Nation as well, and that was for $31,772, leaving us an ending cash balance in that account of $101,930. And then the final capital maintenance account for the VB National Golf Course, We received that should actually say December. We received a December monthly revenue share agreement of $14,509. And then we also made a payment for the Pond 1 maintenance plan to VHB. That was for $9,408. The ending cash balance in the VB National Golf Course, the actual physical cash is $1,763,682. But then I also put up this month, I'm gonna start putting it up every month, is the amount that is encumbered for like work we've already agreed to. This is mostly for the roof repairs and there's still a few payments for the HVAC system and then the pond maintenance. But the amount encumbered on January 31st was $967,027. So that means that the funds that are unencumbered on the funds available on January 31st is $796,055. For the incentive and initiative accounts, we had one payment from each of them. For the facade improvement grant, there was a payment for parking lot milling and repaving that was paid to Ria's Gourmet Catering. That was $10,000. That leaves us with an ending cash balance of $31,553. And then for the small business program, small business grant, we also had a reimbursement of $10,000. This was to reimburse Elizabeth Borza for the purchase of a True Color retinal camera and scanner. And that leaves us with an ending cash balance in that account of $434,278. And then the final account is for the EDIP. We had appropriations on January 31st of $11,857,209. During January, we made one payment to Born Primitive. This was the first reimbursement of their grant. We paid them $20,266. That was of the total grant. The total amount in the grant possible is $42,000. So that leaves us at the end of January. That leaves us with an encumbered balance of $6,228,428. There's no activity for EDIP Part B, so that encumbered balance stayed at $812,269. So if you take those two encumbered amounts, then the grant funds that are available for future award as of January 31st is $4,816,512. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Howie. Any questions for Howie?
All right.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is a request for approval of a resolution regarding City View 2 LLC development agreement. We've got Alex Stiles.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Mayor. We were here last month on this, and another issue hadn't quite been finalized, so we're bringing it to you today. It is related to the same project. It's the City View development over the corner of Constitution and Bonnie. Here are your disclosures. They have not changed since last month. It started back in 2016 where the Ripley Heatwell folks came to us wanting to redevelop this corner, which is within the town center TIF, but not in the core area. We had planned 3 phases of development. We were going to have some mixed-use apartments, hotel, structured parking. The city's participation was an incentive payment equal to incremental real estate taxes generated at the project to offset $10.2 million of their parking costs. And the anticipated developer cost was initially $60 million. Where we are now, 2 of the 3 phases are complete. Drive by them. They're the Fairfield Inn, Landmark Hotel, its headquarters, and Constitution Apartments along with the structured parking. Their actual investment in just those 2 phases, as you can see, far exceeded what their total was anticipated. It was $87 million. And again, we're here talking about the incentive payments. They want to make sure that they qualify for them and that development agreement remains in place. Last month, you extended the time to finish the third phase to 2029, and they've come to us with a request about what that third phase is going to look like. Okay, so initially, the third phase was going to be one Constitution, which was going to be an office building down here on the corner. They are proposing that if they construct either one Constitution or 8 Constitution, which would be a mixed-use structure on the top of the project, that we modify the development agreement to consider their obligations satisfied. As you can see, initially one Constitution was going to be about $5 million. Now we're saying between 9 and 10. And if they do 8, it'll be a substantially higher investment. So we're just asking your approval to make that change to the development agreement that either or both would satisfy their construction obligation.
Any questions for Alex?
Not a
Bill?
question, but I think it's also worth pointing out that that is an either or, but that the developer does intend to build both. They're actively pursuing Phase 2, the timing of which may be that the Constitution 8 is completed before that, so that they're still intending to build both. It's not to build one or the other.
That's my understanding. Thank you, Mr. Berkey.
But it's likely that the mixed use will be constructed before the office because
my
there's
understanding.
just a soft office market right now.
Which would put their total investment over $100 million at this point.
Yeah. All right, any other questions for Alex? We'll entertain a motion on the request to amend the City View 2 LLC development agreement to, I've got a motion from Mr. Weisenseel. Second from Ms.
I'm sure I'll be abstaining.
We've got one abstention. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Alex. Next item is under workforce development. Staff recently had a workforce roundtable.
Good morning, Ms. Vice Mayor, Madam Chair, and also the Commissioners. My name is Nala. I'm just going to give you an overview of our Workforce Connections event that we had on January 29th at the Hive. Go to the next slide. Oh, do I have that? So the reason the impact for this event was to support employers' talent needs, strengthen HR leadership capacity, connect businesses to workforce resources in the region, and encourage cross-sector collaboration. And that's the biggest one yet, is the importance of cross-collaboration. The goal is to equip HR leaders with practical tools and strategies, share current workforce and hiring trends in the region, increase employer awareness of available workforce programs, because there's plenty, but they really don't know what's available to them. Build stronger employer-to-employer networks, because I think when they share ideas and resources, they could build a better workforce for each other. Event recap, attendance, and engagement. The event was a regional convening of HR professionals, employers, and workforce partners, focused on strengthening talent strategies and employer engagement and collaboration. We had 57 registered for the event and 30 attendees, which was a great turnout. Network session also followed the panel discussion, giving the attendees an opportunity to speak one-on-one with the panelists. The panelists were Deborah Bailey, who is the Director of Business Services with the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. She does everything business, only businesses, and works with them, has a lot of incentives and resources for them. Sultan Camp, who is the Director of Hampton Roads Veteran Employment Center, and he does both the peninsula on this side, and he has a vast amount of resources for employers when it comes to military spouses, veterans, and transition service members. Rachel O'Brien, who came all the way from Richmond with VDIP, she is the Director of Talent and Workforce Initiatives. So she came and she provided resources, what they can do as a state. Phyllis Kellums, she is the Area Service Deliverer for the Virginia Works, which is also called Virginia Employment Commission. So she talks all about different resources the state could give them, also unemployment, what they'll have to do in order to, employers have to file and everything like that, but also let them know the importance of coming and working with each other in order to fill the gaps of their talent. So it's a great panel, all different resources and different levels of experience. Key conversations and takeaways, we have talked about in this event that there are workforce challenges discussed is the lack of funding for training, retention, recruitment, upskilling, and the aging population. Innovative solutions shared among the HR leaders, so they did share really good ideas of exactly what to do in order to bridge the gap of their hiring needs. Opportunities for regional partnerships are identified. Now they know who they need to go to directly, and they had the contacts. So it was a really great event, and they really took on a lot of information that day. One thing I did see a lot of them talk about is when we talked about innovative solutions is bridging that gap when we do have federal funding. Perhaps us as the city, we can relieve the other set and offset the funding, and by providing that funding from the city, because a lot of these grants that they receive only pay up to 50% of the cost. So if we're able to offset it, that would be great, because it'll help them retain and also hire individuals. Event success, there was high engagement and representation from local employers like Bush, AGI, Valkyrie, IMS Gear, Geico, QED, so a lot of employers that we do work with, but we also had new connections that were established by smaller, but also different partners as well that came in to also help, like Jen here, Hiring Our Heroes was present, and they were really there to support the employers of Virginia Beach. Increased awareness of workforce programs and resources that they never knew about, that it comes from the city, state, and the federal that they provide to employers. Next steps, continue to conduct interviews with the HR. So what we do as the Brew team, we go in, and when it is a workforce, we go in there and we evaluate what their needs are, and then that's when the connections happen. So what I do, I act as if I'm part of their HR team. So now a lot of these employers know that and are able to understand that I am able to connect them with what their needs are. We're going to engage TCC, ODU, and Virginia Wesleyan in specialized training to develop employer-specific curriculums. So right now we're working with a lot of employers for leadership for their current employees. And military and veteran-focused pathways that convert prior service experience into industry-recognized skills. So understanding if you're in the military, what is at the civilian job? Because they're not the same, so we're able to identify that. Continues to support major employers by acting as a strategic partner for both high-level hiring and ongoing training with clear structure and shared metrics. So we understand what their needs are, so we come to their level and understand how we can support them and bring those services to them. Questions?
Thank you, that was wonderful. We have been hearing for months, well, actually years probably, from our businesses that they have challenges hiring the right folks for a lot of these jobs, especially in the light manufacturing and advanced manufacturing sectors. So I think it was great that we're finally able to get everybody in a room with the resources and try to connect people to the appropriate resources so that we can try to help not only our citizens find the jobs, but help our businesses find employees.
I agree. Thank you. Any other questions?
How did we market the event?
So we have a distribution list that we send it to the employers that we work with in Virginia Beach. We also rely on our partners as well and their connections to Virginia Beach companies. So we're able to rely on ourselves because we identified Virginia Beach businesses, but also other partners that were able to invite people as well. And social media, of course.
Are there any thoughts or ideas about putting construction in there? Bringing construction people into this group also?
That's always a possibility. I think the first step is introducing myself or our Brew team to these construction companies and meeting with them and getting to know them and evaluating what their needs are. But absolutely.
And everybody right now, construction is way off.
Yeah. So if anyone has that connection, and I'm more than happy to meet with them.
Was there anybody there from public schools, Virginia Beach?
No. City of Virginia Beach HR was there though. So.
Gunter, did you participate?
I sent somebody else.
Somebody else. Because I know you guys have been working on sort of an apprenticeship
We have one since 10 years.
program. Great. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have a Jenny Lynn Stroop, who was mentioned in the presentation. She is the Deputy Director of Military Spouse Programs, which is part of Hiring Our Heroes at the U.S. Chamber, and she is in my civic leadership class. But we were talking about, what an opportunity and how can we further outreach with our military spouses who are a great resource and a great source of employees for our citizens. So I wanted Jenny Lynn to come and speak to us and tell us what kind of programs that she's got and how we can better integrate with her.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you all for having me today. Like Lisa said, my name is Jenny Lynn Stroop. If you take nothing else from this program, my name is Jenny Lynn, the whole thing. That's my whole first name. I'll leave cards in the back. I'm an active duty military spouse. I am a Virginia Beach resident, and I'm a Hampton Roads native, so all of these things make this job very personal to me, and I am grateful to be here in front of you. So Hiring Our Heroes is a 501c3 arm of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. We are the largest 501c3 arm of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation, and we do military talent pipelining and employment for the military population. And we do that through a couple of ways. We really kind of have two pipelines. We can either do direct hire options or we can do internship options. How many of you are familiar with SkillBridge? A couple? Okay. So Hiring Our Heroes acts as an intermediary between the Department of War and your companies, and we facilitate a SkillBridge opportunity that is the actual SkillBridge through DOW on behalf of your company. And so the way that that works out well for companies here in Virginia Beach is that we are the program manager for both the transitioning service member and for the company, really helping both find best match. We do that 3 cohorts a year. They're January, May, and October, and we are working within the guidelines of the Department of War for each service based on that service member's rank and their service branch, because I'm not sure how familiar everyone is, but those requirements continue to shift as the Department of War continues to try to also retain talent. So like right now, if you're looking at an 05 level person, they're getting about 30 days approved. So we are working within the constraints of each service branch and that person's rank to facilitate that best match. So that's one of our opportunities. We also just launched a Skilled Trades Academy down in Camp Lejeune. It's in partnership with Lowe's, so that construction piece, we're doing it down in North Carolina. We are also looking to open one up near Fort Belvoir in the Virginia area, and looking to expand that program in other parts of the country as well as the state. We also have a skills-based fellowship. This is also a SkillBridge opportunity. This is for non-degreed service members. So SkillBridge is typically for your degreed service members. The skills-based is for non-degreed. Same thing, we're acting as the program manager on behalf of the company and the transitioning service member. The last internship opportunity is we are working in partnership with the Department of War for the Military Spouse Career Accelerator Program. It is a SkillBridge-like internship opportunity for active duty military spouses. So the qualification there is you are an active duty military spouse. You have to be in the DEERS system in order to qualify. But we are working on pipelining talent to the Department of War. It is a paid internship. I believe they up the cost to about $20 an hour for those people, and it runs a 12-week continuous cycle. So they are not in cohorts like the transitioning service members. They run continuous throughout the year. And the Department of War just relaunched that program back in January. Those are kind of 4 options on the internship side. And then we have direct hire opportunities. We do your very large, very traditional career fair. We call them career summits. Those are going to be your on installation. We're doing 50 to 60 employers per installation, garnering hundreds of typically transitioning service members, though the number of veterans post all of the things with the federal government has gone up significantly. So we are seeing a large population of veterans returning for those hiring fair career summits. My team, the Military Spouse Programs team, also does a workforce development program called Amplify. We will be doing it here in the city of Virginia Beach on April 28th at the Hive. So that's an all-day workforce development program for spouses. We define a spouse as if your employment has been affected by your service member's service, you qualify for our programming. So if you are divorced, if you are a Gold Star spouse, if you are engaged to someone in the service, you qualify for our workforce development program. And we do resumes, we do LinkedIn, we do interview skills. And one of the other benefits of that program when we are in person is we invite people from the community in for lunch. So the military spouses that are stationed here in Hampton Roads understand all of the things this area has to offer them while they are here. Which leads to the next thing my team does, which is a military spouse hiring fair. We're also doing that here in Virginia Beach at the Westin on April 29th. So we do this, we do this 2-day event where we are really training the spouses up, making sure they're ready to get in front of employers like yourselves, and then offering them that employment opportunity, because military spouses need employment today, not in 18 months when they transition out of the service. They're here. Many, and the great thing about Hampton Roads is many of us are here for a long time. Like I said, I'm a native. The Navy did take me around for about 10 years, but we moved back in 2021 and have made an effort to stay here. My husband's on his 3rd set of orders at Naval Station Norfolk. So, you have the opportunity to have highly skilled, qualified talent here for quite a while. And so I would invite anyone that's interested in hiring a military spouse. I'm going to leave my card at the back to join us for that April 29th event. See, trying to make sure I click through all the opportunities. The last direct hire opportunity we have is a virtual hiring fair. Looks very much like our in-person. It's hosted on the platform Brazen. The talent acquisition specialists have the ability to be in a booth, and you're either on camera, like you would be on Teams or Zoom, or you are in the chat talking with candidates. Those garner typically 500 to 700 registrants every time we have one. We typically have 2 per month, and they're industry specific. We have healthcare, we do aerospace, we do defense, we do federal. So if any of those apply to you, I invite you to look at our website. We typically have things posted about a quarter out, so you can see kind of all the programming we offer for those military connected talent folks and employers like yourselves. And with that, that's the whole pitch. I'm happy to answer your questions. I know that's a lot of information.
Well, and it's great to hear you've got the 2 events coming up right here in Virginia Beach. So hopefully we can get those posted on our website.
Selfishly, I love things on this side of the water.
Makes it a little bit easier, yeah. And, part of the idea is we need to find a way to retain talented individuals in Hampton Roads, but specifically in Virginia Beach. And the military is such an amazing source of those individuals that have the training, they have the skill set, and they can transition into our workforce. So, the thought was, if the spouse has a job here and they're happy, then it makes it a little bit easier for the transitioning military member to also, in their retirement, look for and find a job here.
I will tell you that is the #1 qualifier for people staying in Hampton Roads. I've done my own survey and research, if you will, on that. There is not a service member that's here whose spouse didn't have a job or a community here that said we will stay because our family is stable economically and community-wise, and they stayed in Hampton Roads. I mean, my family will be one of those. But happy to answer your questions about any of the things that we do, the talent that we have.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a resource. We appreciate you coming today. All right, next item on the agenda is our international incubator, request for approval for expansion of our international incubator. We've got him with you.
Good morning, Vice Mayor, Madam Chair, members of the board. Let's talk about the International Incubator. So currently it has a total of 11 office spaces with 2 collaborative spaces as well as a main conference room. The first tenant was approved back in 2021. It was designed for companies entering into our market that only need about 1 to 2 office spaces. And it expanded the footprint in 2024 from 4 offices to 11 that we have now. In 2025, it was a big year for the incubator. We added new furniture, and we also added a membership option for those who don't need a traditional private office suite. And we just concluded our IT upgrades in the main conference room last month. Currently, we have 4 office spaces remaining, and it has collected about $25,000 in revenue. So the project that we have now, we're asking to expand to 13 private office suites. The cost to remove the wall and to add those 2 additional office spaces is going to be about $11,000. The project has been approved by our landlord, and the work is going to be performed pursuant to our lease that we have with them. Another reason why we want to expand with these additional 2 office spaces is that we are partnering with the VEDP, and they are going to be marketing the International Incubator as well. So we expect to have increased visibility and interest because of that. So the recommendation that we're asking you to vote and approve today is the $11,000 in funds to add the additional 2 offices for an additional 240 square feet of the incubator. Any questions?
How many of the companies that we had in there actually grow roots here? Stayed here afterwards?
We've had 2 companies that have branched out. Absolutely.
Good success.
And that's the hope, that they could have a small office in our office in the incubator, and then as they grow, they move into space and stay in Virginia Beach. So we want to be a welcoming place for them to establish roots. Any questions for Pam? I think it's great that we've got access to 2 more offices.
Absolutely.
All right, hearing no questions, I'll entertain a motion on the request for approval to expand the International Incubator.
So moved.
Got a motion from Mr. Meeks, second from Mr. Weisenseal. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Wonderful, that motion carries. Next item is administrative information. Any comments from any of our commissioners? Going on in the community that you want to report? Hearing none, I'll move on to director's report. We've got, I believe, an introduction. Deputy City Manager Amanda Jarrett.
Good morning, Vice Mayor Wilson, Chair Murphy, members of the commission. I'd like to introduce a familiar face to you in a different role. Emily Archer has been appointed Acting Director of the Department of Economic Development, and we're quite confident in her leadership abilities and skills to lead the department. So I'd like to introduce you to Emily Archer to provide the Director's report.
Welcome and congratulations, Emily.
Vice Mayor, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'll take a brief moment if it's okay. I realize you see me in a regular course of business all the time, but you might not be acquainted with my background or my tenure with the city. So as a brief reintroduction, I'm a licensed landscape architect. I have a bachelor's from SUNY Syracuse in upstate New York and a Master of City Planning from the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. My early career was spent in the private sector in the DC and big architecture and engineering firms, and about 11 years ago, I moved to Virginia Beach to grow my career in the public sector and start my family. My first half of the time with the city was spent in a little office called the Strategic Growth Area Office, and then the Planning Department under Kathy Warren. I've authored 5 council-adopted documents, the 5 Connectivity Plan, and both VBDA's Business Parks Design Guidelines, Corporate Landing, and the Vision Park. I've been instrumental in the city's economic vitality capital improvement program. I've been instrumental in conceptualizing, managing, and overseeing the implementation of a dozen different projects within that portfolio, including 19th, 18th, and now 17th Street underway, Winston-Salem Avenue at the Marina, the Lynn Haven Corridor improvements underway, Pacific Avenue Crossing pedestrian improvements on the north end, and last and most, Atlantic Park. I've been with the leadership team of economic development in this department for over 4 years, and I look forward to providing continuity and stability in operations around here. And if you've ever worked with me, you'll know that I'm a reliable high performer that sees the big picture, and I'm adept at devising achievable solutions to complex problems. And one of the biggest I'm now focused on is how to support this business community and grow our economy. And from what I can tell so far, it's going to take a little bit from everybody in this room. So I look forward to getting all up in the business of this community and collaborating more with you all and being your advocate. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. That's wonderful. And having served in this position, or actually for the Development Authority for several years now, I had no idea all of the amazing things that you've done. So you've certainly been working behind the scenes, and now you'll be more out front. But you're definitely accessible and approachable, and I think it's wonderful for us to have continuity and, just somebody that the business community can rely on. So we appreciate you and we applaud your appointment.
I have two quick updates too, just as for the director's report. Save the date for May 8th in the afternoon. We're going to have a big celebration for International Economic Development Week and also PBD's annual charity event combined this year. So more to come on that, but the afternoon of May 8th, please hold. We also still have open the Facade Improvement Grant Program and Atlantic Avenue Grant Program. Get your applications in when I can. We anticipate advancing the first of those to you next month in our March meeting. But again, I appreciate it and I look forward to working with you more.
Emily, quick question. How have the Atlantic Avenue, how has that grant program been going? Have you seen a number of applicants, or do we need to help try to get the word out about that more in the
The
community?
more you can get the word out, the best. It is a new program. We've been doing tons of outreach. There's an Atlantic Avenue Association meeting Eric will be at this week to continue to plug that door to door. He's been going to RAC. So lots of outreach on that. We do have our first application, so we're happy about that. And we anticipate at least about 5 more coming in for that soon.
And those grants are up to 25 million. I'm sorry, 25. 25,000. As opposed to our FIG grants, which are only 10,000. The Atlantic Avenue ones go up to 25,000.
I've heard there's a lot of excitement for it, so it'll be interesting to see what comes in.
Yep, and it's not 25 million, sorry. All right, thank you, Emily. Anything else for the good of the group? All right, if not, the chair will entertain a motion to recess into a closed session pursuant to the exemptions from open meetings allowed by Section 2.2-3711A, Code of Virginia as amended for the following purposes. 1, legal matters, consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body, and consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A 7, and that pertains to District 6, and contracts, discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers, and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A 30, and that also pertains to District 6. We'll have a motion, a second, and then a roll call vote. A motion from Mr. Runke and a second from Mr. Keplinger.
William Runke.
Yes.
Horsley.
Yes.
Killjan.
Yes.
Eric Keplinger.
Yes.
Asmo Meeks.
Yes.
Penny Morgan.
Yes.
Lisa Murphy.
Yes.
Mike Standing.
Yes.
David Weiner.
Yes.
Ginger Weisenseal.
Yes.
And in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this Virginia Beach Development Authority that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Virginia Beach Development Authority of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed session to which this certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Virginia Beach Development Authority. I'll need a motion, a second, and then a roll call. Motion from Mr. Weisenseal, a second from Mr. Horsley, and a roll call.
William Runke.
Yes.
Donald Horsley.
Yes.
Killjan. Eric Keplinger. Asmo Meeks.
Yes.
Penny Morgan.
Yes.
Lisa Murphy.
Yes.
Mike Standing. David Weiner.
Yes.
Ginger Weisenseal.
We are adjourned. Thank you all. See everybody next Thanks.